Time clock, job clock. The time clock and job clock are both great tools to track who's doing what and when in your shop, as well as track productivity with actual versus flagged or flat rate hours per job. So the job clock can be used to pay your guys, or just have them use it to log how long it takes to complete their jobs. And with that information, you can track productivity. First, we have to activate the job clock feature in the employee's record. From the menu bar, click Payroll and select Employee List, and double-click on the employee name we want to activate the job clock for. And from the Miscellaneous link, click the Use Job Clock box. Now, if this employee were hourly and we wanted to calculate their pay using the time clock feature, we would click on the Payroll link, select Hourly, and then click the Use Time Clock Hours box. Now, these are not mutually exclusive features, by the way. We could pay hourly, or flat rate for that matter, and still use the job clock to track their productivity. Let's click OK and close. Click the time clock icon on the toolbar, enter in the employee code, we use our initials, and here is where we clock in for the day. We can click Print Time Card for this employee, enter a starting and ending date for the time card, and we could check to show voided records or items for review, like forgetting to clock out on a day. And then we'd click OK, but we'll just cancel out of here for now. So let's click on Clock In, and that's all that's to the time clock feature. But since we logged in as a technician, here we are on our technician's job clock screen. Let's say we just got to work though. So click on OK, and we'll select we're on idle time, and click on Waiting for Job Assignment, and then click Select, and you can customize this list under Setups. And if we're a service writer or an office person and did not use a job clock, this is a screen we would see after clocking in. So to clock in on our next job on the job clock, enter your employee code, click OK, and note here we can view open ROs or completed ROs for today using the radio buttons. To clock in on a job, click the In column for the job the technician will start next. Let's note some of the job information on each line here. Promise time, very important, the RO number, vehicle description, who the customer is. We can also click on Clock In, Out History for the highlighted job to see the time and flagged hours we've already done, but we've not started this job yet, so we don't have any information here. We can also see the status and any additional notes from here. Now let's click on the RO vehicle details to see even more vehicle information. Click to print a technician worksheet or a checklist. And we could actually add a checklist to the job from here and print it as well. We can print or preview the vehicle history report from here for how many months we want to go back, and another spot to print out our time card. Click the OK button, and we can select Continue or Continue and print his tech worksheet. We'll just continue and cancel. Note here in the Tech 1 column on the service counter, our initials have a purple background. This means this technician is clocked in on this job. Now getting back to what I mentioned earlier about tracking productivity, the system lets you choose how to pay: hourly for actual hours worked, flat rate based on flat rate hours booked, or on flagged hours that the tech records right here in the job clock. Let's clock him out of this job and take a look at this flagged hours feature. Click on Time Clock again, Employee Code, and OK. And here we can see his status is clocked in on this job. Well, let's say he's done with this job. Click in the Out column and the clock out screen comes up. And here, this number in the flagged hours section is the actual time we were clocked in on this job. But I'm going to flag a half hour for this job. And this is the amount of time I say I spent on this job. This is left up to the tech's discretion. Then we can select our reason for clocking out, and this list is customizable as well under Setups. But let's say we're done. We're going to leave it on Completed. Now what's neat about this job clock feature is that it tracks actual and flagged hours recorded by the technician. So the job clock lets you know both the elapsed time the tech was working on a specific job, as well as how much time he says he flagged or manually entered here, and this prints out on the job clock detail report. Enter any particular notes for this job if there are any, and click OK. And we can say this tech is going to idle time and select a reason for idle time, but let's click Cancel and clock out of work instead. And we could be going to lunch or going home. Click OK and click Cancel. Now remember, we have a couple different pay options: hourly, which we could use a time clock for that, flat rate, or pay based on those flagged rate hours we entered. And a couple other things about the job clock. You can set the system to not allow flag hours to exceed flat rate hours allocated for a job, and you have the option to let your techs log into more than one job at a time, or not. Both features are under Setups in the Companies section. As I mentioned at the beginning, even though you may pay your technicians flat rate, which is very common, using the job clock and tracking flagged and actual times can provide valuable productivity information. See the Employee Productivity Detail Report training video for details on this valuable employee report. And this concludes the lesson on Time Clock, Job Clock.